Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhaktavrinda Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhaktavrinda Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhaktavrinda. So we are continuing with Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Leela. Chapter number 2, Lord Chaitanya, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Text number 3. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhaktavrinda Jaya Jaya, all glory, Sri Chaitanya to Lord Chaitanya. Jaya, all glory, Nityananda to Lord Nityananda. Jaya, all glory, Advaita Chandra to Advaita Acharya. Jaya, all glory, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda to the devotees of Lord Gauranga. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. All glories to Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Lord Sri Nityananda. All glories to Advaita Chandra and all glories to the devotees of Lord Gauranga. Text 4. Tritaya Shlokera Artha Kari Vivarana Vastu Nirdesha Rupa Mangalacharana. Tritaya, third Shlokera of the verse, Artha, the meaning, Kari, I do, Vivarna, description, Vastu, of the absolute truth, Nirdesha Rupa, in the form of delineation, Mangala, auspicious, Acharana, conduct. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Let me describe the meaning of the third verse of the first 14. It is an auspicious vibration that describes the absolute truth. Text 5. Yad advaitam brahmopanishadi tad apyasya tanudha ya atmanantaryami purusha iti so asyamsha vibhavaha Shad Aishwaraiha Purnoya Iha Bhagavan Sa Swayam Ayam Na Chaitanyat Krishna Jagati Paratatvam Param Iha. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. What the Upanishads describe as the impersonal Brahman is but the effulgence of his body, and the Lord known as the Supersoul is but his localized plenary portion. Lord Chaitanya is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna himself, full with six opulences. He is the absolute truth, and no other truth is greater than or equal to him. Purport. The compilers of the Upanishads speak very highly of the impersonal Brahman. The Upanishads, which are considered the most elevated portion of the Vedic literatures, are meant for persons who desire to get free from material association and who therefore approach a bona fide spiritual master for enlightenment. The prefix upa indicates that one must receive knowledge about the absolute truth from a spiritual master. One who has faith in his spiritual master actually receives transcendental instruction, and as his attachment for material life slackens, he is able to advance on the spiritual path. Knowledge of the transcendental science of the Upanishads can free one from the entanglement of existence in the material world, and when thus liberated, one can be elevated to the spiritual kingdom of the Supreme Personality of Godhead by advancement in spiritual life. The beginning of spiritual enlightenment is realization of impersonal Brahman. Such realization is affected by gradual negation of material variegatedness. Impersonal Brahman realization is a partial, distant experience of the absolute truth that one achieves through the rational approach. It is compared to one seeing a hill from a distance and taking it to be a smoky cloud. A hill is not a smoky cloud, but it appears to be one from a distance because of our imperfect vision. In imperfect or smoky realization of the absolute truth, spiritual variegatedness is conspicuous by its absence. This experience is therefore called Advaitavad, or realization of the oneness of the absolute. The impersonal glowing effulgence of Brahman consists only of the personal bodily rays of the Supreme Godhead, Sri Krishna. Since Sri Gaurasundara or Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is identical with Sri Krishna himself, the Brahman effulgence consists of the rays of his transcendental body. Similarly, the Supersoul, which is called the Paramatma, is a plenary representation of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The Antaryami, the Supersoul in everyone's heart, is the controller of all living entities. This is confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 15, verse 15, wherein Lord Krishna says, Sarvasya Chaham Hrihi Sannivishtaha. I am situated in everyone's heart. The Bhagavad Gita, chapter 5, verse 29, also states, Bhoktaram Yagna Tapasam Sarvaloka Maheshwaram, indicating that the Supreme Lord, acting in his expansion as the Supersoul, is the proprietor of everything. Similarly, the Brahma Samhita 5.35 states, Andantarastha Paramanu Chayanantarastham. The Lord is present everywhere, within the heart of every living entity, and within each and every atom as well. Thus, by this supersoul feature, the Lord is all pervading. Furthermore, Lord Chaitanya is also the master of all wealth, strength, fame, beauty, knowledge, and renunciation. Because he is Sri Krishna himself, he is described as Purna or complete. In the feature of Lord Chaitanya, the Lord is an ideal renouncer, just as Sri Rama was an ideal king. Lord Chaitanya accepted the order of sannyas and exemplified exceedingly wonderful principles in his own life. No one can compare to him in order of sannyas. Although in Kali Yuga acceptance of the sannyas order is generally forbidden, Lord Chaitanya accepted it because he is complete in renunciation. Others cannot imitate him but can only follow in his footsteps as far as possible. Those who are unfit for this order of life are strictly forbidden by the injunctions of the Shastras to accept it. Lord Chaitanya, however, is complete in renunciation as well as all other opulences. He is therefore the highest principle of the Absolute Truth. By an analytical study of the truth of Lord Chaitanya, one will find that he is not different from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. No one is greater than or equal to him. In the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 7, verse 7, Lord Krishna says to Arjuna, Mataha parataram nanya kinchit asti dhananjaya. O conqueror of wealth, or Arjuna, there is no truth superior to me. Thus it is here confirmed that there is no truth higher than Lord Sri Krishna Chaitanya. The impersonal Brahman is the goal of those who cultivate the study of books of transcendental knowledge, and the Supersoul is the goal of those who perform the yoga practices. One who knows the Supreme Personality of Godhead surpasses realization of both Brahman and Paramatma because Bhagavan is the ultimate platform of absolute knowledge. The personality of Godhead is the complete form of Sat, Chit, Ananda, full life, knowledge, and bliss. By realization of the Sat portion of the complete whole or unlimited existence, one realizes the impersonal Brahman aspect of the Lord. By realization of the Chit portion of the complete whole or unlimited knowledge, one can realize the localized aspect of the Lord, the Paramatma. But neither of these partial realizations of the complete whole can help one realize Ananda or complete bliss. Without such realization of Ananda, knowledge of the Absolute Truth is incomplete. This verse of the Chaitanya Charitamrita by Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is confirmed by a parallel statement in the Tattva Sandarbha by Srila Jiva Goswami. In the ninth part of the Tattva Sandarbha, it is said that the Absolute Truth is sometimes approached as impersonal Brahman, which, although spiritual, is only a partial representation of the Absolute Truth. Narayana, the predominating deity in Vaikuntha, is to be known as an expansion of Sri Krishna. But Sri Krishna is the supreme absolute truth, the object of the transcendental love of all living entities. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. So we have come to this verse number 3, which actually we recite before chanting every round in the morning the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, that is Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar, Shivasadi, Gaur Bhakta. So here we see in this verse number 3, it is all glories. Also it says Bhakta Vrinda, to all the devotees of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Why is there mention of the devotees, Bhakta Vrinda? Because relationship with devotees is very, very important. We can progress in spiritual life only when we have association of devotees. We should not neglect or minimize the relationship with the devotees, the association of the devotees. The devotees, Prabhupada says, can save us from Maya, right? They can save us from this illusory energy of the Supreme Lord. Why did Chaitanya Mahaprabhu come as a devotee, right? To set an example, to show us how a devotee should behave, how a devotee should follow the instructions of the Supreme Lord. So it is very, very important that when we chant our rounds, before every round, we chant Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. When we say Bhakta Vrinda, it should remind us that we have to offer our respects and obeisances to the bhaktas, also to the devotees. So association of devotees is very, very, very important. Now, verse number 4, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is saying that this is an auspicious vibration about Krishna, right? Remember, he says auspicious vibration. Now Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he gave us the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So he, being so kind and compassionate, and giving us a very simple and easy way to go back to God. It's simple process. What? Chant the holy names of the Lord. But it's important that we chant attentively. That is important. So this is the solution to end our sufferings, that we chant attentively. That is the first step of Krishna consciousness. That is what Srila Prabhupada says, that chanting is the first step. Now we come to this verse number 5, which was so beautifully described, and it had a very nice long purport by Srila Prabhupada. Imagine if the purport was not there, we would barely understand the verse by itself. So there is talk about the impersonal Brahman, which is the effulgence coming out from the transcendental body of the Supreme Lord, and then talks about the super soul, the Paramatma, which is the plenary portion. Now in Bhagavad Gita, we have heard Srila Prabhupada say, excuse me, that this Paramatma, Lord Krishna, he is situated in everyone's heart as the super soul. So within, he is situated as the super soul, and without, he is represented as the bona fide spiritual master. So of course, we know that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. There's talk about the opulences in this verse and purport. So, uh, Parashar Muni has given the qualifications of a Supreme Lord. What does he say? Aishwarasya Samagrasya Virasya Yashashriya. He's given 6 opulences, which is that the Supreme Lord, which is Krishna himself, is all beautiful, all wealthy, all knowledgeable, all famous, all powerful, and all beautiful. These are the 6 opulences of, and no one is equal to that, and no one is greater than Krishna. So all this, Prabhupada explains that this is all described in the Upanishads. It's described in Bhagavad Gita. It's described in Srimad Bhagavatam. And now we are hearing it in Chaitanya Charitamrita also. So Upanishads, Prabhupada says, they are the most elevated portion of the Vedas. Excuse me. So Upanishads are for those who desire freedom from material association, right? So when we have the desire to give up material association, then we should approach a bona fide spiritual master. And learn from him, get guidance from the spiritual master. What does Krishna tell us in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4? Tad vidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya. Two things we do. We approach a bona fide spiritual master, we inquire from him submissively, and we render service unto him. And then what will happen? What will be the result? That the self realized soul, the Tattva Darshana, will impart knowledge unto us, right? He will be able to guide us. Who is Krishna? Right now, theoretically, we know, Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Theoretically, we know a lot of, we have a lot of knowledge. But now this Gyan has to be converted into Vijnana by the process given to us by Srila Prabhupada. When we follow the process of Krishna consciousness, then we will come to the stage of self-realization, that we will realize who we really are. Now, in the purport, that very long purport of verse 5, Srila Prabhupada says that Upanishad. So Upa means receive knowledge from a bona fide spiritual master, right? We cannot receive knowledge unless we have firm faith in the spiritual master, right? Cannot receive knowledge unless faith and materialistic life will then slacken. Once we accept bona fide spiritual master, then Prabhupada says that materialistic life will start going down. The material fever will start going down and the spiritual fever will start rising. Only then we will be able to advance in Krishna consciousness. So, the knowledge of the Upanishads, they can help us become disentangled. They can help us to remove our bondage. What does Bhagavad Gita tell us? That if somehow or the other we do not take knowledge of the Bhagavad Gita of Krishna, then we will stay in bondage. We will not become free. That removal of bondage is possible only when we take up Krishna consciousness seriously, and then one will be able to advance, elevate, and go to the spiritual abode, which is actually our eternal abode. That is our original home. That is where we have come from, and that is where Prabhupada says we need to go back. Then we will be in our constitutional position, right? So Prabhupada explained in Bhagavad Gita also about the three levels of realization, which we read in verse number 5: Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. These are the three levels of realization. So, the first step, of course, some like to go step by step. So, first step is Brahman realization, but that is a partial realization. And in the purpose, Srila Prabhupada, he gives a nice analogy of a hill, right? So, there is a hill far away, and we are looking at that hill, and it appears to us that is like a smoky cloud. Is the hill a smoky cloud? No, but it appears because it is a partial understanding of the hill. We are looking at it from very far. So that is why it appears to be like that. So that is incomplete information, and also it is incomplete perception of ours, right? The hill is appearing to be like a smoky cloud because of our faulty vision. So this vision that we have right now is covered up with Maya. That is why we are not able to see Krishna face to face. Prabhupada says we can see Krishna, we can speak with him, but because of the faulty senses, we are not able to do that. So, Brahman realization. So, what is Brahman? It is the effulgence of the personal body rays of Krishna's, the transcendental body. So, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also has the same effulgence. So, it is the same, both Krishna and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the effulgence from their transcendental bodies is the same. Now, we learned the first step. Okay, that's Brahman realization. The next step, second step, is Paramatma realization, which is the plenary representation of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, or we can say of Krishna, within the heart of all living entities. And he is also called Antaryami, right? He's situated in the heart. We cannot see him, but he's there within the heart. Why is he there in the heart? Because he has nowhere else to go or because he has no other work to do? No. He is situated in the heart to guide us, to show us the path back to Godhead. So Prabhupada says he is so compassionate, so merciful, that no matter what body we are taking, whether it's animal, insect, birds, human, whatever body we are taking, he is coming with us in that body just to guide us, just to tell us, hello, I am here, I'm there to help you. Please take my guidance. But he's not going to force us, right? In the purport, Srila Prabhupada quotes the verse from Bhagavad Gita from chapter 15, verse 15. Sarva sichaham hridi sanivishto mataha smriti jnanam apohanam cha. So he's there within the heart. He's there to guide us back to Godhead. So what does Bhagavad Gita tell us? Krishna as the super soul in the heart is the witness. He's the guide. He's the controller. He's the sanctioner. He is everything. He's the cause of all causes, right? He's also the proprietor of this body, right? Another verse Srila Prabhupada quoted in the purport is Bhoktaram Yagna Tapasam Sarvaloka Maheshwara. He is the Maha Ishwara. He is, he's present in the living entities, he's present everywhere. That's why he is all pervading, right? He is the proprietor of this body. We cannot think, oh, this is my body. I am the master of this body. So I am going to do whatever I want with this body. No, 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 no. The proprietor of this body is Krishna. What does Bhakti Vinod Thakur pray? Bhakti Vinod Thakur prays that everything that I have, my family, my spouse, my children, everything, Krishna, it belongs to you. You are the proprietor of my family. You're the proprietor of everything. That is the consciousness we should have. We should not have that, oh, this spouse is mine, children are mine, house is mine, body is mine. Let me enjoy all of this. No. Krishna is the proprietor, and because he's present in all living entities, he is all pervading. Then we come to the highest level of realization, the topmost level, and that is Bhagavan realization. Now we know that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna himself. That's why he's called Sri Krishna Chaitanya, right? They both are identical. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is also Bhagavan and also has the six opulences. And Prabhupada says he's Purna. Purna means complete, right? So, and he showed with his behavior, he took sannyas for a particular reason. He wanted to show how a true sannyasi should be, what should be his behavior, right? What, when he opens his mouth, what does he speak? So Prabhupada said that, of course, in Kali Yuga, sannyas is not recommended, it is not necessary, but Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took sannyas to set an example for us. He did that because he is God, he can do that, right? The spiritual master actually decides which disciple needs sannyas. I remember this was probably in maybe 19, maybe 2, 3 years after we took initiation. Someone in front of Guru Maharaj, said that, someone whom we were preaching to, who used to come to our Bhagavad Gita classes, and said, I think Geet Govind should take sannyas. And Guru Maharaj looked at me, to see what's my reaction. It was like whatever Guru Maharaj wants, it is him, up to him to decide. It is not we decide. It isn't that devotee who decides that, oh, Git Govind should take sannyas. No, it is up to the spiritual master. So Guru Maharaj looked at the devotee and with an expression like, why are you deciding? It is me who has to decide, right? The spiritual master decides who should take sannyas. A very nice incident was when devotees were sitting near Srila Prabhupada in his room. And then one devotee took up the courage and told Srila Prabhupada, Prabhupada, I want to get married. So Prabhupada said, okay, you can get married. You need permission, right? So he got the permission. So the other devotee sitting also had a desire to get married. He said, oh, this one got a yes answer. It's the right time for me to ask the same question. He said, Prabhupada, I also want to get married. Prabhupada said, no, no to that other devotee. When everyone was gone, the one who got a no for an answer asked Prabhupada, why? You said yes to him, but you said no to me. Prabhupada said, because the other devotee, I know he cannot control his senses. So if I had said no to him, he would have gotten married anyway and then committed an offense towards his spiritual master. But you, I know you can control your senses. I know you can stay as a brahmachari. That is why I said no to you. And then the devotee was so relieved. You see, so it's very, very important to take guidance from the spiritual master. He is the one who decides because he knows. You see, just like you and I, we go to the doctor, we both have different diseases. Is the doctor going to give us the same medicine? No. The doctor is going to give the medicine based on the ailment, right? So, just like it's not the same medicine for all diseases, similarly, it is not the same instruction for all the disciples. The instructions are based on circumstances, family, etc. Right? That is what we should accept. That whatever the spiritual master says is the last word. Now, Shastras clearly say that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and it also says Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Prabhupada mentions in the verse, in the purport, excuse me, Mataha Paratarannanti. Kinchit Asti Dhananjaya, right? There is no truth superior to Krishna. There is no truth superior to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Srila Prabhupada says that the Brahman realization is the goal is of the Gyanis. The Gyanis want Brahman realization, right? And the yogis, they want Paramatma realization. Whereas the Vaishnavas and the Bhaktas, they want Bhagavan realization. So these are the three steps. And Prabhupada says one can go directly to the Bhagavan realization just by becoming a Vaishnava, becoming a devotee, right? Becoming, following the instructions. What does Lord Brahma say? Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha, right? In the purport, Srila Prabhupada is talking about Sat, Chit, and Anand, right? These three. So Lord Brahma has already said in his prayers that Krishna's body is transcendental. It is made of Sat, Chit, and Anand. He is the cause of all causes, right? So Brahman realization comes from the Sat portion of Krishna. It's important to understand. This is what Prabhupada explains. And the Paramatma realization comes from the Chit portion, right? The Sat realization is unlimited existence, talking about complete Brahman realization, unlimited existence, right? But the Paramatma realization is coming from the Chit portion, which is unlimited knowledge. Both the Sat and Chit, they cannot make one realize Anand portion, right? Which is only the Bhagavan realization that gives us Sat, Chit, and Anand, all three of them, right? And in the purport, Srila Prabhupada mentions about Tattva Sandarbha by Jiva Goswami. What does Jiva Goswami state? That the absolute truth is sometimes approached as Brahman, although it is spiritual. Brahman realization is spiritual, but it's only a portion of the absolute truth. It's not complete. So we have to gain, again, we are being given knowledge about the three levels of realization. It is Sat, Chit, Anand, which is Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan realization. And Prabhupada says that Bhagavan realization is the topmost level. What is Bhagavad Gita teaching us? How to come to that realization? What does Krishna say in chapter 15? Vedescha sarvar aham eva vedayo vedanta krit veda videvacham. That I am the compiler of the Vedas and I am to be known from the Vedas. The whole purpose of the Vedas is to know Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Prabhupada has given us a simple process how we can, realize Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. How we can become self realized, which means we understand who we really are. Now, we have already entered into 2021, right? The new year. Yesterday, we started the new year. It's important that before we go further in new year, we take an inventory of ourselves. What have I been doing all these years? Or what have I done spiritually in 2020? What are the accomplishments? What is it that I did helped me to advance in spiritual life? And what is it that I did which kind of did not help me in spirituality? So it's time for to be introspective. Yeah, it's very, very important. It's essential. You see, we it's important if we can understand that four things in our inventory: what is essential, what is important, what is non-essential, and what is not important. Make a list. What are the things that we did that fall in these four categories? And then start contemplating on how to improve in this. Did I do a lot of essential? Did I do a lot of important? Did I do a lot of non-essential? And did I do a lot of non-important things? This is how we take an inventory so that we can progress. And the most important point of this exercise is very, very important, is to fix our relationships with other devotees. We all have faults. What is Srila Prabhupada taught us? We have four defects. We make mistakes. We have imperfect senses. We are in illusion and we have tendency to cheat. So Prabhupada is clearly saying we make mistakes. I have made mistakes. We all have made mistakes. So why not in this new year help ourselves grow spiritually more and more and fix our relationships with other devotees? Reach out. Reach out. Yes, it is our false ego that stops us, right? I know it's very difficult to reach out and to express and to accept, first of all, ourselves accept that I did make a mistake. So, what happens is we should make our spiritual life around our material life. Not that we make our material life around spiritual life. This is wrong. It should be the other way around. We should, whatever materialistic items, things that we do, that should be not as important as our spiritual life. Remember, I have given this example. We have a jar, and in that, we have to put a big stone, we have to put pebbles, and we have to put sand. What is the thing that will go in first? It'll be the big stone. Then the pebbles and sand will find their way inside that jar on their own. But if we fill the jar with pebbles and sand first, then there will be no place for that big stone. And that big stone represents Krishna. Krishna should be in the center of our lives. And then everything else that we are doing, material or whatever, should be around that. So it's important to give spiritual life more importance. The beginning of the day and the end of the day must be Krishna conscious. That will help us. If in the beginning of the day our morning program is very strong, Mangalarti, chanting attentively, hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, reading Srimad Bhagavatam. When we do that, and towards the end of the day, just before sleeping, we read Krishna book, or we hear a lecture, or do some reading, whatever, then if that strong sadhana is there, then our firm faith in this process will help us to progress. I was listening to one lecture, and this Maharaj was saying that there was a devotee who was affected by COVID-19. This is recently, just quite recently, maybe a few days ago. He got COVID-19, and he had so much firm faith. Now, I'm not saying follow this, but I'm just relating what actually happened a few days ago. He had so much firm faith in the holy name of the Lord that he chanted and chanted and chanted attentively, and without any medication, he got completely cured. I'm not saying that this is what you should do. I hope none of us get COVID 19. And I'm not saying that if we do get, this is what we do, but I'm just relating the instance of firm faith in the holy name of the Lord. That is what Srila Prabhupada has taught us, that we have this strong faith, and then with the association of the devotees, we somehow or the other keep advancing spiritually till we come to the stage of prema, love for Krishna. That will be the highest peak of our spiritual life. So these verses, as we see today, are talking about offering obeisances to Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Advaita Acharya, and also to Bhakta Vrinda, to the devotees of the Lord. And then we also heard about the three levels of realization of of the Supreme Lord. Is Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan Realization.